Welcome, everybody, to Stay Curious. I'm your host, Mark Marquette. We're broadcasting live from the American Space Museum Stay Curious Studios in downtown Titusville, Florida. And glad that you're with us today. Got a beautiful green screen here of one of the pioneering probes of our early investigation of our solar system. Pioneer 11, also Pioneer 10 looked like it. Just some cameras on a big radar dish to send signals and capture them far, far away as it left the solar system. Has left the solar system now. But we're going to talk about what is in the news about this Pioneer 11 in space history here in just a minute. As we welcome everybody to this program today, we're going to share some things about the photography of Pioneer 11. We're going to talk about STS-68, a radar mission that has potentially 3 astronauts who are coming to Shuttle Fest. That will be way cool. And this mission 68, Marty, had a ground anomaly that was the last in the program we'll talk about in a minute. Got a little tease about submarines, and this is the week to go out and get some moonshine, folks, as our nearest neighbor is going to be shining brightly in our backyard. So, sponsor on this program is Bid Again Auctions, and Chuck Jeffrey, our collections analyst here at the American Space Museum, former board member, and has contributed so much to the American Space Museum through these auctions that we have a plaque out front honoring Chuck. There he is at 308 Pine Street. Without a doubt, we would be struggling to stay open without the auctions that this man pioneered about 9 years ago. And we're racking up the 40th auction that will be, I think, the weekend of October 11th. We'll be getting all that information with you this week and start promoting it. There's Chuck there. Just wanted to give a big shout out. If you've got something that you think's valuable, an autograph you want to check out, a piece of space memorabilia, shuttle tile, that sort of thing, Chuck would love to see it, and he'll take your text at that number there. And there's Chuck. And Christopher Mick and his daughter Kelly are our Stay Curious fans of the day. This is way back when, Marty. Look at that old school setup there when we just got the green screen. This is back in our conference room with the John Glenn mural back there. That's his daughter Kelly, probably a 4-year-old picture, so she's a lot more grown up than that. And Christopher Mick is an outreach coordinator in Hudson, Wisconsin. Hadn't seen his name pop up, and I thought about him the other day, and I think it was his birthday last week with one of the other astronauts. And so Christopher Mick, thank you for supporting us in the early days of Stay Curious. Hope you're still watching and staying curious with your daughter Kelly there. Marty, this is quite an anomaly. Have you been following on the weather station? I know you have, because all Floridians are following the weather this time of year when we have the dangers of hurricanes. Imelda became the 4th hurricane of 2025. Early Monday, as it began its anticipated turn eastward, only 250 miles off Florida's east central coast. And whew, what a dodged a bullet for Charleston and Savannah, Raleigh, even up there. Imelda is being tugged away from the U.S. by the large circulation of neighboring Hurricane Humberto that's churning less than 500 miles to the northeast. The pair of hurricanes is the closest 2 hurricanes have ever been observed in the Atlantic in the satellite era. 60 years, Marty. Since 1966, we have never photographed anything like this in the satellite era. And that's kind of a little asterisk, because it may have happened in the 30s or 40s, and who knew, because you didn't know there was one out there. Umberto, only people on Bermuda would know what was going on in the 1800s, for example. And I thought this was quite rare, Marty, for 2 hurricanes to be so close to each other. And I don't know how we averted them combining into one gigantic monster, but that could wreak havoc on Washington or up to New York. But pretty interesting, don't you think? You're more of a veteran of hurricanes than I am. I know you guys had three in one year, back to back to back.
Yeah.
That was horrible, but that's pretty unusual, right, Marty?
I've never seen that before.
And so we thought we'd share that with you today, uh, and we like sharing an artifact when we don't have a guest on Stay Curious. Our artifact of today is this that we have on display, the human here we are sign, that if aliens would find us, they would see, find the Pioneer spacecraft, they would see what we're talking about here. They'd see what humans look like. They would get a perspective of their size beside the spacecraft. All of this shows on the bottom where it left the third planet from the sun and went past and out of the solar system between Jupiter and Saturn. This is a bunch of interesting scientific notation that a civilized world would know, at least our educated would understand what that's all about. And I have here, Marty, while I went over to our storage unit, I always find something. Pioneer kit, okay, from 1979, 73, launched April 5th, 1973. Okay, Pioneer 11 is some 12 billion miles away from the sun. Pioneer 10 is about 14. Okay. Voyager 1 and 2 launched later, went faster and passed them. But they both carry a gold anodized aluminum plaque in the event that either spacecraft is ever found by intelligent life forms. All right, here's the plaque again. The plaques represent the nude figures of a human male and female, along with several symbols that are designed to provide information about the origin of the spacecraft and humans, the knowledge that we know about them. And here again is the look at a 1975 press kit on this mission. Shows the trajectory. Back in the 70s, the planets were lined up like a string across the sky. Okay, here's we're going to see a couple of these pictures. Shows the press what the pictures of Saturn would look like. Okay, and Pioneer completed the first flyby of Jupiter in 1983, I believe. It was retargeted. Okay, so I wanted to see if it talks about the camera equipment we're going to talk about is really crude. This is another press kit of this spacecraft here. We'll sell these press kits depending where and when, but that's certainly a good $10 press kit there. I'd like to get more out of it, but the way times are right now, I'll be lucky to get $10, $15 out of this in an eBay situation. But here are the photographs taken by Pioneer 11. They were dual spacecraft. Pioneer 11 captured the first ever close-up image of Saturn and its rings in 1979. Okay, in addition to photographing Jupiter during the 1974 flyby. The quality of the images is low by modern standards as the probe used a scanning photopolarimeter rather than a camera. All right. Now, when it passed by Jupiter, in the lower left, the bottom image is there, in December 74, it's going at 30,000 miles an hour past it, and it got approximately 200 images, providing new perspectives of the planets, including a lucky, dramatic close-up of the great red spot right there off of my shoulder. And then it went on, and 5 years later, it reached Saturn and took 440 images of Saturn, all right, from various distances. So how it captured it, unlike modern film, or now modern digital cameras, it used solid-state cameras, unlike today's solid-state cameras. The imaging photopolarimeter, IPP, was a 1-pixel device that measured the intensity of light along a narrow line. As the spacecraft moved, the IPP scanned the light across the planet. Data from a red and blue sensor were sent back to Earth, where computers synthesized a green image and assembled the scans into a single, complete picture. Wow, what a technology has eclipsed that here, as it didn't really, it used a early kind of digital camera fax machine type of situation there. And but these were the first close-up pictures ever taken of the giant planets, and they were lined up for a decade. It was easy to, they were all in a line as seen from Earth, not like in the sky, all together in the sky. They could be millions of hundreds of millions of miles apart as they were here, but they were lined up like pinballs lined up down a row. And so we sent Voyager 1 and 2 out there to see them also in the 80s. So that's why we're talking about this was the last signals from Pioneer 11's last transmission as its nuclear power source, its RTG radioisotope thermal generator had failed, that it couldn't work anymore. And that was in 1995, 30 years ago today, is when Pioneer 11 last transmitted its weather report, so to speak, of where it was in the solar system. So an important, very important mission, 10 and 11. Launched from Cape Canaveral, not sure which pad, but it represents what our museum represents in the unmanned world with our wonderful Cape Canaveral gallery. All right, how about a little submarine news? The USS Nautilus was commissioned for duty, the world's first operational nuclear-powered submarine, on September 30th, 1954. All right, so it is 71 years ago, 71 years ago today, sharing the name with Captain Nemo's fictional submarine and Jules Verne's classic novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The Nautilus could stay underwater for months at a time, and its first voyage under the North Pole was in August of 1958. All right, now we have over 60 nuclear submarines. All right, Russia has about 30, China maybe a dozen. But this begs to give some love to our first submariner in space, Mike McCulley. There he is, Marty. We had Mike and Mr. Jay Honeycutt on about a month ago, giving a nice tribute to Mr. George Abbey that you want to check out on our YouTube history there, our episodes that we have on YouTube, over 1,000 of them now. So McCulley was the first submariner to go to space. So you wonder, Marty, makes me think about a submarine is a lot like a spaceship, okay? And I asked our docent, John Smith, who worked on shuttle atmospheres, that comparing a submarine environmental system, and he said that they copied the submarine's environmental system, incorporated some of that into the space shuttle. All right. Could a submarine be converted into a spaceship, you wonder? Certainly not this yellow submarine, but, well, there's opposite problems. The hull is designed to resist external pressure trying to crush it, okay, when you're in the water. In space, it's the opposite problem. All the pressure inside is trying to get out, all right? So, and getting rid of heat is a huge problem for a submarine. So the Nautilus was decommissioned after 26 years, designated a national landmark, and it is at the Groton, Connecticut Submarine Library and Museum, Marty, so just in case you wanted to know. So, little submarine relating to spaceships on there. Well, we've got a happy birthday to somebody who is out at the Space Center today, and Marty was out there and saw him, and nobody presented him with a cake. That is Stephen Nathaniel Frick, Space Shuttle pilot and commander, was born September 30th, 1964 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, growing up in Gibsonia. That makes him 61 years old today. He's one of a handful of one-time shuttle pilots who become a commander, 24 days in space. STS-110 was his first, Atlantis delivering the backbone of the truss for the International Space Station in 2002. And then as commander of Atlantis again, he was aboard Atlantis in STS-122 in February 2008, delivering ESA's Columbus laboratory. And since he retired in 2015, Frick is work at Lockheed Martin as director of hypersonics and advanced materials out there. So not very old, Marty, 61 years old. I guess he's fully retired now, talking out the Space Center there with Nick Thomas wrangling him around. So I hope to get out there and see him probably Thursday. Take the morning to go out there and see his talk at 11. So happy birthday to you, Stephen Frick, the astronaut of the day at the wonderful astronaut encounter at Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex. Let me put my phone on here and see if we got anybody talking to me, Marty. I got the shorts on there. I don't want that. Okay. Let's do it this way. Well, this is an interesting story of a shuttle rocketed to space on this date. This is the last. Oh, there's Frick. Had some other pictures of him. That is in the M113 tank that they use to hopefully save their lives if they have to get out of the space shuttle quick. And there he is in space. So probably had a little more gray hair than that, Marty, huh? In there, so. So saying hi to Robert Law and Tom Celentano, R.G. Jubilee, Dave Stange, Michael Bruno, and Cliff in Australia. And God bless you. Cliff did not get very good news. His doctor said that his cancer is really bad, and God bless you, Cliff. You're in our prayers. And I'll get exactly what you said on Facebook there. But we're all thinking about you, and hang in there, buddy. Miracles can happen. And men, get your prostate checked, okay? Which Cliff said he was regularly getting prostate. He does have prostate cancer, our friend Cliff Watson in Pomona, Australia. Well, here's a great crew that we could conceivably have 3 of them at Shuttle Fest this year. Actually 4, because we have confirmed Tom Jones on the left, Mike Baker, Bakes, the commander of 68 on the top left, his pilot, Terry Wilcutt, Terry's first flight. This is Bakes' third of 4, Tom Jones' second of 4 flights. First of 4 for Terry Wilcutt, who wants to come to Shuttle Fest, and Steve Smith wants to come, his first of 4, and then Dan Bursch is seated there, and with a mustache, his second of 4, and Peter Wissoff, his second of 4 flights. So all these guys flew 4 times. That's 20 space shuttle trips total, and we're going to have, for sure, probably 3 of them there. Bakes, Tom Jones are confirmed. Terry Wilcutt, I just have to confirm it with him. And I've talked to Steve Smith, who asked me about 6 months ago, what was this Shuttle Fest thing I heard about from Joe Tanner? I want to come. So that'd be really cool to talk to these guys, because part of the STS-68 story is a risky abort that happened on August 18th, 1994. There was an engine abort at T minus 1.9 seconds. all three engines ignited and shut off just about a second and a half before launch. I watched it today, Marty. That was quite crazy. Something where the many times we've eaten dinner with Bakes and we've never asked him about this. I think we did the first time we took him out, and then you get to know the guy, and we don't even talk about shuttle stuff. We talk about uh, uh, whatever they want to talk about. So, but if we could have three of them there to talk about their perspective of an abort, there's the panel right there. That'd be awesome. Bring in somebody that was in the firing room. It was actually Bob Seek in the firing room on this one as the launch director. Bobby will be there. So I think we may get a panel together of the fifth and last abort in space shuttle history. The other ones were 41D, which Charlie Walker was on, our friend, 51F, 55, and 51. The automatic abort was initiated when there was on engine 3, the high pressure oxidizer turbo pump exceeded its red line value, and they shut it down, and everything was safe. They reset and launched on September 30th, about 6 weeks later in 1994, and Carlton Bailey was there to witness that launch. There's the beautiful shot there. This was a morning, 7:16 a.m., so still in the morning twilight for photographers, and lit up the twilight as the sun was rising. Carlton's got his remote cameras. There's the side shot. There he's the other side. There he's a left side on a wide angle. Now he's behind it with another remote there. And then finally the backside with the ET there. Hard to get a good exposure on this. You overexpose the engines to get you're in twilight still, as sun was rising about this time on September 30th, 1994. And look at that gorgeous flame contrail once the whole stack got up higher and hit that sunlight. You can see how dark it is there. So that had to be a cool one to see there. Carlton, thanks for sharing these pictures with us there. So let's see what they did up there. Now let's see what the patch means, because I love the art of our shuttle patches. Exploration of Earth from space is the focus of the patch. The world's land masses and oceans dominate the center, with Endeavour circling the globe. The SRL 2 letters span the planet Earth, symbolizing worldwide coverage of the two prime experiments, the Shuttle Imaging Radar, C, and the X-band Synthetic Aperture Radar. Instruments and measurements of air pollution from satellites map sensor was the third one. The red, blue, and black colors represent the three operating wavelengths of the SIRC and the XSAR, the science payload. The gold band surrounding the globe symbolizes the atmospheric envelope examined by maps. The flags of the SRL partners, Germany and Italy, are opposite Endeavour. Strange they didn't have any astronauts from those countries on this flight. The soaring, the relationship of the orbiter to Earth highlights the usefulness of human spaceflight in understanding Earth's environment and monitoring its changing surface and atmosphere. The soaring orbiter also typifies the excellence of the NASA team in exploring our world using the tools the space program developed to explore the other planets in our solar system. The patch was designed by Sean Collins, okay? 7:16 launch. It was up there for 10 days. 10:02 a.m. landing at Edwards Air Force Base as it was raining here in Florida. Wow, all of that out of that patch. And the profile was something that we did talk to Bakes about, because this is the payload was actually an instrument that had to point down at the Earth. This is part of it here. And it was a radar. an X-ray penetrating the ground of Earth, creating a different look that pioneered vegetation. Um, it led to advancements in understanding vegetation, soil moisture, ocean dynamics, and geological processes. Okay, and here is an image taken with one of those instruments of San Francisco. Okay, uh, processes like volcanism and tectonic activity and desertification were seen. These results included mapping deforestation, measuring wave wind speeds, uncovering ancient river channels in the Sahara. They found a civilization or two underneath the sand, and revealing geological features obscured by sand around the world. This is Cape Cod. Okay, the date, a beautiful uh, showing you the type of vegetation going on. And this being in October, the first SIR mission was flown in the spring, so they could get two different seasons of data. They didn't want to get the snow in the winter. The data collected by these two shuttle missions in 1994 is available through the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, Marty, just in case you had some time and wanted to look up some of these images. So go to your USG, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, for scientific analysis of your own. After all, you're an American citizen. You own this data that was harvested on this STS-61 mission. So the second time we flew there, don't know this is the first one. Maybe one of you smart people out there will tell me when the first one was flown there. And so and here's Bakes in the center there, Tom Jones off his left shoulder there in space. Two versions of the team in space up there. That is very cool. And man, if we get if we get four of them there, that makes me want to get Smith there. Okay, he had a bunch of other missions. You can't possibly remember all the missions, Marty, that these guys were on. You know, you stand in front of them and get an autograph and have a nice chit chat with them, or in our case, we're lucky to take them out to dinner once in a while. And sometimes I think, Marty, the last thing they want to talk about is their space mission, don't you?
At times, I think every once in a while they want to talk about the mission, but typically you're right. They don't.
One astronaut we've been out to dinner with about 4 times always wants to talk about being president of his HOA, okay, and all the hassles with that, and the one neighbor that has a yard sale every Saturday when you're only supposed to do it once a month, and it's very interesting. They're people just like us, and when you're a retired astronaut, the money's good for them to talk out there at the Space Center, and I love that they do it because they're to many of those people, they're the only astronaut they'll ever meet their entire life, and that's a responsibility that many of them take seriously. So, well, hope that you've enjoyed all this today. I knew Steve Jokums would come up with was flown by was it STS-2? Okay. There was something like that on STS-2, but I thought there was another dedicated mission to that. Doesn't matter. We're going out today with a bang and a little bit of moonshine, okay? Let's all sip a little moonshine out in your backyard. There's the way the moon looked last night, first quarter. You got all of these beautiful features along the difference between night and day called the Terminator. We call that twilight on Earth. This is the way the Earth looks, where the twilight is. When sun sets or sun rises. But and just to give, so the moon is progressing. It's a waxing gibbous now. I guarantee you all the baseball games tonight will be showing, because we got the playoffs going on with the baseball. If it's clear, they'll show you the moon. All the sports shows usually do. But here is the bottom part over here. This is that heavily cratered area. that is where we want to go with Artemis. And actually, the crater we want to go with Artemis is almost, you can't even see it there. It's shrouded in darkness there, but it's one of them craters. Let's see right here. Yep, right there. We're talking about, we want to land Artemis right there, folks. All right, somewhere in here. And we have always landed, we've always landed in, we landed in this rocky area here, Apollo 16. We landed up here on Apollo 15. But the rest of them have landed basically in the dark Maria. All right, the other four. Safe where it's flat, not many craters. These craters that we see here are 30 miles across. Okay, 30 miles across. All right, not very big. All right, this crater here might be 55, 60 miles across right there. And everywhere you look down on the moon are small craters, because there's no atmosphere. Nothing burns up, everything impacts on the surface. So just saying. So to get out and get you some moonshine, and this is the kind of moonshine you can't get too much of. And I know you're using your binoculars at Friday night football with the high school kids or college. So get them out and look at the moon. Hold them steady. You will be amazed what you see. And you might even see the space station go overhead. I didn't look it up on my app, but it might be going overhead. Let me see. I'm not going to look that up, as we got some of you talking to me on here, live chat. There we go. SRL-1 flown STS-69 in April 94. They flew one in April, one in February, 6 months apart to get that data set. So who's parked at the space station, Marty? Well, we've got the Crew Dragon, up the Crew 11 Dragon. You got the cargo ship off there to the left, Dragon 33. You've got the Cygnus cargo ship on the belly there that just attached. Soyuz MS-27 off my shoulder is the other crewed spaceship, the only other lifeboat on the space station, as we've got three Russians, 3 Americans, and a Japanese astronaut on there. Progress 93 and Progress 92 are attached. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cargo ships and 2 crewed ships for a total of 6. And they'll be getting rid of 92. They're tunneling down here, over here to the beginning of the space station, is right over here with Zarya, Zebda, and Unity. And so they'll be getting the garbage in there so they can, the Progress, the Cygnus, they all burn up in the atmosphere. They do bring back the cargo dragon and reuse it. And 10 humans orbiting Earth. There we go. There's our 3 Americans, 3 Russians, and 1 Japanese astronaut, and 3 Takyonauts orbiting in their heavenly palace. They're approaching 6 months of their tour of duty up there. And I think in a couple of weeks, there'll be a new Shenzhou 21 launched up there. Haven't seen if it's got a woman on it yet, but they have integrated 3 women into their space program very quickly. As China has said, we are going to the moon by 2030. And I think that's a long date for them. I think they could do it maybe by 2028, late 2028, quite possibly. And we'll talk about that one day. But we are concerned about Expedition 73 and our 7 astronauts up there doing great science, learning things every day that we want to learn about. So Dave Stangy's going to be looking at the space station at 8:07. All right, get me a picture of that, Dave Stangy, and I'll put it on Stay Curious there. Put your camera on a tripod. Try it with your cell phone. You might be able to get that streak up there. So Marty, thank you so much. You gave me the list of Dave Stangy, RG Jubilee, Chris Calley watching, Carlton Bailey, Doug Forrest, Steve Jokum, Robert Law, Tom Celentano, Tom Usiak, Michael Bruno, and Nick Deacons in the UK, as well as Robert Law there. And it was nice talking today with Chris Cowley on the phone as Ronnie Woods, the artist, was in here. And we did something we're going to try to put together on our YouTube channel where I'm unboxing space memorabilia. Marty, unboxing things is a big deal to people that love videos. So we're going to get into it. And I unboxed my second box of space memorabilia. And Matthew Raj is whipping those up. And we'll let you know when those are up and running on our Facebook page that is now over 4,000 people. Yes, Marty, what do you have on that UCX family microphone?
Yeah, also Oliver Brown and Mostly Park, they're watching.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. I'll tell your friends to follow, share us, and we help monetize our museum here a little bit. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about some current events again. All right, got some guests lined up for October, for sure. And circumstances led that we didn't have too many guests in September, but glad that you like a show with me with space history like this, as I love talking about space history because it's what the foundation that today's space companies are owe their businesses to, and we never want to forget the sacrifices made and the triumphs of our American space program. So until tomorrow, when we tantalize you with more space news, I'm Mark Marquez saying, come in our museum and check us out. I can't wait to see you to bridge the space between us.